Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
The views and opinions expressed on Trudging Together are solely those of the host, co-host, and our guests. They do not necessarily reflect the views of any organization, fellowship, or other entity, and definitely not your boss, your neighbor, or that one guy in your home group. The content of this program is not intended to replace medical, psychological, or professional advice. If you're looking for that, please seek guidance from qualified professionals who spent way too many years in school. What you'll hear here is based on lived experience, recovery journeys, and the occasional bad coffee-fueled joke. Trudging Together is not affiliated with any 12-step fellowship. We are simply people sharing our stories and walking this path together, one day at a time. Thank you for joining us, and remember, recovery is serious business, but that doesn't mean we can't laugh along the way.
Trudging Wednesdays. Yeah. Snowy Trudging Wednesdays. I got some snow in Colorado. We're only about, I don't know, a month and a half late. Thank you, global warming. Thank you for waiting, making it snow later in the world. I don't believe in global warming. So, and what do I care? I ain't gonna be around when it happens anyway. So, who's the guy that fought all that? What was that guy's name? He was a vice president. I don't remember. More in leisure. Good to see you. I know I haven't been showing up at the same time. I don't know what's going on. So I do know I didn't have my nightmares last night. Something worked. Something worked. Don't you hate being reprimanded? What is it? It just pisses me off, man. So last week we got in trouble because there were some kids at the meeting and they needed to say something. I didn't know that. I guess they were messing around on the stairs, stuff like that. They're not supposed to do that, right? And when we were leaving, they brought it up. I'm like, okay, we'll make changes, make sure that it was Al Gore. Thank you, Al Gore. That motherfucker. I swear. Al Gore. But anyway, so I get a letter from the I'm the outpatient program manager. I hope this finds you well. I had a staff member reach out to me recently because there's about unaccompanied kids upstairs. It appeared the kids were waiting for parents who attended the meeting. In that case, I need to ask kids not be unaccompanied. Yeah. See, I told them I'd take care of it. So when I get a follow-up like that, it pisses me off. Don't worry, I wrote back nicely, but I did write her boss and say, I don't appreciate that stuff. I don't. I took care of it already. So I 10-stepped it with the CEO of CRC. Here's the thing. I'm not going to keep my fucking mouth shut on anything anymore. No. I called out Samson. You guys like this one. You guys might appreciate this one. We're gonna go have some fun here. All right. So, all right. So let me get back here. All right. All right. So Samson put out this thing, seasonal affective disorder, and I said, man, you guys are really doubling down on this disorder thing. Now it just feels like you're coming up with things to say when really we are deep doo-doo out here in the recovery field. I hope change comes soon. I don't really put it down. It's just like, okay, that's enough. And then this person said, SAD has been a disorder since I can remember back in the 80s and probably way before then even so. How is this new to you? Now, I never said anything was new. All right. Now, if I go to her website, if I go to her page, it says that she's a hope dealer. Okay. So it looks like it was 1984, but that doesn't mean I'm wrong. We can title things all we want, but actions is what we need. It shows when we have people calling them hope dealers, yet try to stand on proving people wrong. See, I'm not going to put up with anybody's crap, and you shouldn't put up with anybody's crap either. It's enough. Enough is enough. All right. Yeah. I don't even want people that are not genuine around me anymore. I just don't. Leisure says, I'm talking about the season defective disorder on the podcast tonight. Awesome. Awesome. Did you know Samson came up with that name in 1984? Oh. But they started turning everything into a disorder. Now there's alcohol use disorder, there's substance use disorder, there's drug use disorder, there's eating dirt use disorder, you know. Disorder, disorder. It's a shocking word. That's why they want to use it. See, they're just making things up. I do not have a disorder. I have a mental illness. I'm fine with that. I do not have alcohol use disorder. I'm an alcoholic. I'm okay with that. Those are clinical names and they should be kept in the clinical world. But when recovery coaches and peer support run around saying SUD, SUD, you're just trying to talk about people's heads. There's nothing wrong with alcoholic. There's nothing wrong with addict. Okay. Yes, sometimes it feels like name calling, but when we start getting into disorder, well, I'm not jumping on that bandwagon. I'm just not. Yeah, seasonal depression. That I can go with. Absolutely, I can. And I understand it. I understand it. Absolutely. But we don't need to add more on it, right? Toxic shock. Sounds sounds horrible. Disorder. Oh, sounds horrible. All right. Now I'm not saying that we should call it something all fluffy either, right? I'd rather be called a drunk than alcohol use disorder. I really would. It feels icky. All right. You know what time it is? It's time for some jokes. Okay, I got kind of a funny thing to tell. I got something here. I'm gonna try and turn it into a joke one way or another, but that's probably not gonna happen here because I haven't practiced it. So right now we're trying to figure out how to get the seventh tradition done in our group and it being done right. And we're like, okay, we should go buy a prepay phone, right? And I was thinking about it last night. I'm like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I watch all these shows. I watch all these drama shows. What we need to do, what we need is a burner. That's what we need. We need a burner. I'm like, wait a minute, Dion. That's not what they're called. They're not called burners. That's alcoholic thinking. That's drug addicted thinking, Dion. That's criminal thinking. They call it pay to go, pay as you go. Right? Yeah. See, that's our alcoholic. Thank you. Right? All right. So, why did the man bring his watch to the bank? He wanted to save a little bit of time. I don't even know how to do this next one. What do you call a fish with no eyes? A FSH, because they just took out the I, right? So, right. I tried to catch some fog earlier. I missed. Oh, it's because it's oh, God, the setup is horrible. All right. Did you hear about the restaurant on the moon? Great food, but no atmosphere. What's the best way to get to a hospital after breaking your foot? A tow truck. A tow truck would be it. Is that what I'm supposed to see? I didn't know that, Amber. Then you tell the jokes. Amber's helping me out here. I'm supposed to say, you're supposed to make fish, 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 like that. Fish. Okay. Thank you, Amber. Actually, that's a big help for when it comes up again. So I can tell it right. Yeah, if you're going to tell jokes, might as well tell it correctly. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. My name is Dion. I have to admit that the idea for this topic came from somebody asking me yesterday. Please say hello, whether you're watching live or the rewatch. I doubt that Amber is going to mind that I give her credit on this one. Thank you, Amber. It was a very good question. What is a temporary sponsor? People say it all the time. I'm going to tell you now. I don't quite know. I don't. I don't totally know. The concept has always kind of confused me. I've never been a temporary sponsor because for me, there's nothing temporary about recovery. But people say it. What do they mean? Right. Right. So we're gonna get into this stuff. We're gonna we're gonna break it down. Stop. Break it down. Do. Right. So a lot of old comers don't, or a lot of newcomers don't know the difference. I mean, a lot of old timers don't. I I I see. I don't know what you mean by it. I know what the intention of a temporary sponsor is, but I don't know what your intention or what your thought process is on a temporary sponsor, because it sounds, well, temporary. Yeah, you're not wrong, though, Amber. Amber says, I almost said we're all temporary sponsors because we die someday or we stop sponsoring and they move on. Yeah. So, in a sense, we are all temporary sponsors. It just depends on what you feel temporary is. Because saying not anything can be forever because of that death thing, right? So, these roles are not the same. And when we mix them up, people get hurt, confused, or misled. I don't agree with that. Right. That comes from ChatGPT. We're going to call ChatGPT out on that one. That is incorrect. We can get them. That I kind of feel like they're kind of the same, but we're gonna go over it. And it isn't the same, but it isn't. We'll figure it out, won't we? Not everyone in recovery is meant to guide you. Some are just meant to walk next to you. Not everybody sponsors. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why. I'm not going to question it either. Right? It's not for me. Not going to tell people you have to sponsor and things like that. Maybe they have it. You know, for 4 or 5 years there, I did not have a sponsor. I looked for one, but I couldn't find one. Everybody told me no, and I gave up after a little while. And what I did is I created a crowd of closed mouth friends. I called them accountability buddies. I still have several of my accountability buddies. Now I do have a sponsor in the sense that I'm supposed to have a sponsor, but that's about it. We're more closed mouth friends than we are sponsee. Right? But he is my sponsor. He's the main person that I should go to. He's been very, very busy lately. So I had to reach out to some of my other friends. So, what a sponsor actually is, right? So, it's going to go into, and what I'm not going to do is talk about or hype on all this, or not hype, but I'm not going to focus on what we really shouldn't be. We should know this by now. Okay. What we should be is a guide. That's it. We are a guide through the big book. Okay. And we can't be more than that. It shouldn't be more than that. All right. Leisure says you just need to be sober and available for the next alcoholic. That's how my relationship is with my sponsor. And these are going to vary too. All right. But there are some things. So a sponsor walks you through the 12 steps using the big book. They give directions, not opinions. Okay. Now, I'm going to let you know now that when I work with my sponsors, I'm going to tell you there are some opinions of mine that do come up. Absolutely, they do. They are not required to use them. No, they do not. I'm not going to get hurt if my sponsee doesn't do what I tell them to do. It's not my business. But I will give my experience, not really opinion as much as it is experience in the program and seeing certain things. So I guess I don't really give my opinion as much as it just as experience. Right? If it is opinion, though, I'm going to say this is an opinion only. Right? So, because I want them to think about it, right? My direction may not be the same direction for them, but they still need to be aware of it because it might come up. They share their experience, not their control issues. I watch a lot of people slip into codependency and start telling people what to do. Okay. I'm not gonna, yeah. They have worked the steps and have something real to pass on. So a sponsor is somebody who has completed the steps. Okay. Time is not necessarily a factor in this part because some people go through the steps pretty darn quick. Some go through them a little bit slower. Some of them are as slow as molasses, like me. All right. So time's not really the factor in that one. In fact, we're going to talk about the temporary sponsor and time. All right. But as a person who's completed the steps and had a spiritual experience as a result of them, and you are attracted and you want what they have, that's really all it takes for sponsorship. There doesn't need to be some big moving moment. You may be friends, you may not be friends. Who knows? Who knows how this relationship is going to turn out? Um, Real quick, what a sponsor is not. We just got to cover some of them. They're not your therapist. They're not your parent. They're not your bank, your Uber, your landlord, your emotional punching bag. And they're not someone there that's going to co sign your bullshit. They're not going to do that. In fact, they're going to, that's, that's the part of being a sponsor is helping the new person realize where they are bullshitting because we alcoholics don't totally understand where we are bullshitting. That's why working with a recovered alcoholic works because they have confronted their own bullshit. Right? Right? And isn't that what you want? Somebody who's done the work? Don't you want a sponsor who has been there and maybe has a couple of answers for you? Then yeah. Yeah. Some suggestions, some a little bit of experience of being through a few things. Now, you know, let's remember quality over quantity. Uh, just because somebody has, you know, let because I don't want to make it sound like I'm putting somebody down. But just because somebody has 20 years doesn't mean that they're a good fit. Somebody with a year and a half might be a good fit for you. It's okay. That's what I was trying to get to on that. Because 20 years is a long time to stay fucking sober. That's awesome. Okay, so what the sponsor that you want has time in the program and time in the steps. Right? And that's kind of up to you. Lives by the principles. If your sponsor but doesn't know what the principles are, you might need another sponsor. Good chance they know that they know, right? Calls you out with love. Yeah. When it's hard to call people out, but we're trying to help. So, this I have found this is the best way to do it. I use my own experience, right? So, in the beginning, we don't like being told what to do. We don't really ever like being like today. So he sent me a second email about kids being in the hall. Come on, Kids in the Hall. That was a great show. Come on. I'm squeezing your head. I'm squeezing your head. All right. My grandkids do that. I'm squeezing your head. I stole that from Kids in the Hall, which came out in I was like 15, 16 years old, mid 80s. Back when SAMHSA, it was about the same time that SAMHSA came up with seasonal use disorder. I don't think you were here for that part, Amber. You'll have to go back and listen. Leisure says you are awesome, my friend. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that, man. That was a week ago. They don't have any hobbies. That's being funny today. All right. So keeps you accountable without playing God. Yeah. That accountability. I wanted to go back to calls you out with love, not shame. Okay. Like in the beginning, I describe the first or second time I meet with a sponsee, we cover the living amends because men, I'm sure women do too, we carry around a lot of shame, a lot. And when men do not feel useful, they want to die. We do. We may not always follow through on it, but we've got to feel useful. If we don't, okay. So we're going to start simple, right? Take out the trash. That's what I was taught. He said, Dion, I know you're full of shame and guilt. You want to go in there and sit down and talk, but we don't need to do that. You're going to talk with me every week. For now, what I want you to do is that honey to-do list that you've been working on. And my sponsees usually I got a little upset with them too until I did it. And then once I experienced it, I saw what he was saying. Right. The hard part, this is where they usually take offense, is this part. I took a little bit of offense. And don't you go running to your wife or husband saying, look how great of a job I did taking out the trash. Don't do that. Okay. They will notice. They will notice. Don't worry about it. All right. That's usually the first one that tends to piss them off. All right. So we've talked about what a sponsor is. Okay. Kept it nice, simple. Now we're going to move on to temporary sponsor. Before we go to Chat GPT and see what it has to say, because it reaches out and takes a bunch of information, brings it back for us, right? So might be right. So I'm going to tell you what I think a temporary sponsor might be. I think a temporary sponsor is probably closer to a closed mouth friend. But what they're saying, what they might be saying, or what I would be saying if I was a temporary sponsor, first situation would be maybe I'm on the sixth step. Maybe I'm on the seventh step. Well, I know how to do steps 1, 2, and 3, don't I? But that temporary sponsor should probably not go past 3. But they can certainly walk somebody through the beginning of the book in steps 1, 2, and 3. Sure, they can because they've done it, they've experienced it. Okay. Or, hey, I'm the person you can be accountable with if you need to talk, something like that, and I will help you find a full-time sponsor. Or maybe, and here's a third situation, maybe I'm just full. Maybe I'm already working with 3, 4 people and adding on another person but what I'm willing to do is hold on to them for 2 or 3 weeks so they got somebody until we find somebody else for them. But it usually means that we're going to be finding somebody that's more suitable for you, or maybe somebody that has more time. It doesn't mean that I suck. What it does is it means that I understand that I can't work with everybody, that sometimes a different personality is going to work better than me. And that is okay. That is humility. And it is a great thing to have. Absolutely. Right. So what it says here is it's a bridge between help me and I found my person. A temporary sponsor gives you a lifeline until you pick a permanent sponsor. Okay. And I like this. And actually, Amber brings this up a lot on what her sponsor told her after a week of sobriety. He said, you can help people out. You know where to get a big book. You know where to go to meetings. You know where to, right? But I would consider this a closed mouth friend. That's what I would consider it on it. That is opinion. Okay. Now you can have the opposite opinion of me on this one, and it's still going to work out. It's just preference. That's it. Okay. Do I temporarily sponsor? I have. I have. Yep. But I didn't know that they were going to be a temporary. I didn't know I was going to be a temporary sponsor. It didn't start out that way. We started working together, figured out that we were kind of colliding or whatever. So I helped them find another sponsor. I've had some people reach out and say, Dion, I appreciate what you've done for me, but I felt like this other person was a better fit. Good for you, man. Good job. I love hearing that. I don't take offense. I love the fact that you have made a decision that is going to better your life, and your intuition for you is much better than my opinion. Yes. He told me that the first day I met him, it was my 3rd day of sobriety. Oh, alright. That's why we don't tell each other stories, because then we mix them up, right? I'll be more careful on that. I will. Alright. They help you start by going to meetings, understanding the basics, like what is a sponsor, finding stability. They do not take you through all the 12 steps unless they become your sponsor. Why are temporary sponsors are important? Oh, newcomers are overwhelmed. Maybe the word temporary can make it a little bit easier for the newcomer. Oh, it's not a forever thing. Okay. So even the words itself might help somebody be a little bit more willing to give this a try. I think that's awesome. Uh, Amber says, I've been tempted to many people then. Oh, yeah, but I didn't go into it with that plan. Yeah. Then I've been a temporary sponsor probably more than I've been a sponsor. Hi, Angel, you slipped in there. You slipped in there. Good to see you. Oh, I need everybody to pray that my car is going to start today. I need it to start. Okay. All right. Why temporary sponsors are important. Newcomers are overwhelmed. It keeps you from drifting. Helps you learn what kind of a sponsor you actually need. And there's a warning, do not confuse temporary sponsor with a full sponsor. And number 2, don't collect temporaries. Pick someone eventually. Maybe somebody is testing the waters, but I don't think that this is a good place to test the waters on your sponsorship. Go talk to your sponsor about that. Okay. Go talk to other people about that. Okay. Because there's nothing wrong. Let's say maybe your sponsor can show up while you're sponsoring. There's nothing wrong with that. Now there's 3 of you. Right. Amber says, ding, 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 frothy emotional appeal. I guess the big book doesn't have a side, so I shouldn't either. Very, yeah. Drive your car more and it'll start. Thanks, Amber. Thanks. The heel. Scott says, yeah, I was a temporary sponsor with a sponsee flaked after 2 meetings. Yeah. Yeah. See, we've been temporary sponsors and didn't even know it. No, I think the alternator's going out on my car. So no, that's just my friend trying to tell me to get out of the house more. All right, let's move on to what a closed mouth friend is. The most underrated role in recovery. Every single person here is one of my closed mouth friends. All right. My biggest closed mouth friend, my wife. My second biggest, my therapist. Yes, I consider my therapist a closed mouth friend. I've been seeing her for 4 years and we have become very close. Okay. If you listened in on one of my therapy sessions, you would think I was just having a conversation with somebody. Amber asks, are we going to temporarily do the steps next? Yeah. That reminds me of you, you know, after you have that non-alcoholic beer, you know, don't you want some non-cocaine cocaine? Don't you get the urge for some non-cocaine cocaine? Maybe a little non-heroin heroin? Angel says, "My therapist is a great closed mouth friend." Yep. Therapists are the great best closed mouth friends because they pay and they have to agree with you. That's a joke. They don't have to agree with you. No. Uh, I said that to my therapist once. She laughed. I'm like I'm like, "You're just saying that because I pay you. You're required to tell me I'm right." But she knows me well enough and knows my sense of humor enough that she knew that was purely a joke. Um, Leisure says you should consider your therapist a closed mouth friend. Although my therapist asked me why I have a therapist if I have a sponsor, then I would get a new therapist. I would. Or what a great what a great time, unless you really, really like your therapist, then this is a great time to educate, right? Yeah. Um, Yesterday, I ended up sending my therapist some resources because she told me about a client who he's really trying. He's trying. He's missing a little bit, and I think I can tell he's just one of those people don't want to go to AA. So I'm trying to hook him up with a recovery coach that'll show him a few things so he can keep moving forward in his recovery. I do it all the time. Got asked this morning, Dion, do you know of a place where we can send it? And yeah, these people were that somebody had a client who was on the sex registry, and we were able to help them this morning. But I gotta start getting paid for this shit, man. I do. This is outside the scope of AA, and I should be paid for this stuff anyway. So, Angel says I used my therapist as sponsor for a while. Amber says I feel like my first therapist would have asked that, and she was my favorite. So, the closed mouth run, someone you can tell the truth to without judgment. Closed mouth friends, 10th step. I 10th step with Amber a lot. It I try and spread my 10th stepping around so it doesn't all go on one person because I 10th step a lot. And what I'm saying is I make a lot of mistakes, but I'm willing to take care of them. Right? Someone who doesn't repeat what you said across town, closed mouth friend. All right. Closed mouth means your secrets die with me. So what do? They listen, support, they share their own experience. They walk beside you on the hard days, but they do not sponsor you. They don't give you directions and they do not try and run your program. They're just there because sometimes it's all we need. Yeah. Just another person who understands. Yeah. Why you need one? Because everyone needs someone you can say the ugly stuff to. Yeah, there are some things that go through my brain that I have to admit, and it's not all pretty. I did it in the meeting yesterday. Gosh, I hope everybody doesn't think differently of me now. All right. The help They help you sort out emotions before taking something to your sponsor, and they often become lifelong friends. Yeah. I have some of the longest standing friendships I've ever had, aside from my wife. That that one doesn't get count. She is above all that. She right. Because I'm like, no, you're my wife. She's like, but I want to be your BFF. I'm like, wife comes with BFF status automatically. You get more than that. You get more than BFF. You're my wife. Means if anybody does anything, I will knock them the fuck out. I have your back. I will protect you. No questions asked. Don't need to ask any questions. My wife is innocent. So, all right. The dangers of mixing these roles. And I'm glad it's bringing this up. Expecting a closed mouth friend to act like a sponsor equals chaos. It's not fair. It's not right. Because maybe this person isn't ready to sponsor. Right. When you do a 10th step, it's about listening. And saying, yeah, that sucks. That's kind of hard. Yeah. Expecting a sponsor to be your best friend can equal a resentment. Expecting a temporary sponsor to run your whole program is dependence, and mixing roles leads to hurt feelings, confusion, and honestly, bad recovery advice. because now we're mixing stuff. We're in a lane that we're not supposed to be in. Now, I don't wear different masks anymore, but I do wear different hats. Sometimes I'm a husband. Sometimes I'm a father. Sometimes I'm a friend. Sometimes I'm a sponsor. Sometimes it's clinical, Dion. Yeah. Amber says BFF with benefits. Yes, there you go. That's the best way to describe marriage. Right? So, sponsor guides you through the spiritual program. A temporary sponsor gets you started and grounded, and a closed mouth friend walks beside you and keeps your confidence. That's your team, not perfect people. Now, these people are perfect, but they are the right people. Leisure says expectations in general cause resentments. Absolutely, they do. All right. So, a sponsor saves your ass, a temporary sponsor buys you time, a closed mouth friend saves your sanity. So, pick wisely, stay honest, and don't try and do this alone. We trudge together. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I got to go get ready. Well, first I gotta go make sure my car starts, and if it isn't, then get it started. And then I got to go do the 2 o'clock meeting. So yeah, I know you're like it's 2 hours away. Well, I don't like rushing, and I still got to take a shower. So all right. So thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. Amber, thanks for the topic. I know you weren't like, hey, what's the topic? Make this a topic, but you gave me an idea for a topic, and I appreciated that. All right. Thank you all for being here. I love you. You know I do.